Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to PWR Weekly. I'm the man they call Meathead. I'm used to talking into this microphone here, but now I'm looking at the camera right here. I'm the man they call Meathead, joined by the lovely Linda Kay and Matthew Thomas. This is PWR Weekly. Hello, Linda. Hello, Matthew.
Hello. Good morning. This is different.
This is different. You know, normally for this kind of show, this is a face that's not really meant for camera. I have a face made for radio. Now, Linda Kay, obviously, we can put you on camera anytime. But Matthew Thomas, you're not used to being up on the camera. How do you think the world is accepting of the Matthew Thomas look?
Well, we have seen the last time I can actually go grocery shopping in a reasonable hour without getting mobbed and ask for autographs, picture taken. People
I don't know if it was autographs. I think they were asking you to leave because what you did in the produce section.
Want me to hold their babies, you know, like. Yeah, that's what happened. That's what's going to happen from here on out, you know. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'll do whatever I need to do to make the public happy.
Well, that's what we're trying to do here. We are now going to be going once a week. It's the season premiere of PWR Weekly. Like I said, we got Linda, we got Matthew, and you got yourself. This guy, the man they call Meathead. We're going to do a little bit of news. We're going to run into all the results from last week and get you ready for this week as well. So here we go. Linda Kay and Matthew Thomas, we have first the news. Let's talk about MJF and his issue with Kanye West. Have you guys heard about this?
This is news to me, Meathead. You are breaking it not just to
loyal that's right.
fans. You're breaking it to Linda Kay as well.
Top AEW Super.
No, Meathead. I'm going to let you finish.
Okay. Top AEW superstar Maxwell Jacob Friedman has responded to hip-hop sensation. I didn't write the article. Kanye West's latest rant about Jewish people, and he is not happy. MJF, a very outspoken Jewish individual, not happy with Kanye. Go ahead, Matthew.
No, see, that was my kind of homage to Kanye and the Taylor Swift thing. I'm going to let you finish. You know. Yeah.
I'm a little sensitive. Yeah. I'm a little sensitive to Taylor Swift. I hear a lot of it on the rides back from Appleton to Milwaukee. So I could sing her songs word for word, and I don't even know what I've been singing. But it's like, you better calm down. You know that? You guys know that one? That one's about Kanye West, actually.
I'm not as familiar with the catalog as it sounds like you are, but you know what?
Linda, jump in and save him. Jump in and save him.
I had to hear a little bit more of it. Why don't you give us some more Taylor Swift there, Meathead?
Which one? Because, baby, we got bad blood.
Okay. No. Now I know. I don't hear Taylor Swift every day.
I'm a Swiftie now. Is that what they call them? Is that what they call old men that are fans of Taylor Swift?
So. I mean, I like her. I haven't heard much Taylor Swift lately, so this makes sense. But, yeah, Matthew, I think it was your turn here to comment on the news with MJF and Kanye.
Oh yeah, this is news to me. This is my reaction. It sounds like it's absolutely horrible news and not what you want to be making the news for. So yeah, if I have not heard the exact comment, but my goodness.
We're going to give you that comment in a second.
Yeah. So I think MJF is, my goodness, in the right to just rip into Kanye.
Quote from Kanye. I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Yeah, I'm already feeling yucky. The funny thing is, I actually can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew also. You guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who ever opposes your agenda.
Kanye is a disturbed individual. If that's not clear to the public at this point, I don't know what is. The dude is just... The dude needs serious help.
Yeah, and last week we did discuss Twitter beefs, Twitter wars, and in what we talked about last week, we were saying, was it kayfabe or is it shoot? This, Kanye not being in the wrestling world per se, or it's seemingly something where, hey, Twitter is that platform where you can say how you feel. People have, the platform to also reply back how they feel. So, yeah, MJF having a huge platform as well, a huge audience, those who will listen and agree and their feelings toward those comments. I don't know. I
feel gross. I feel gross about it, to be honest with you. It wouldn't be right if I didn't give you MJF's response too, and then we can kind of move on from it. MJF, obviously AEW is probably number one heel right now, right? And with the lack of CM Punk and maybe some of the others in AEW, MJF has probably got to be the face of the company right now, with no Young Bucks, with no Kenny Omega. I mean, there's Chris Jericho and maybe Bryan Danielson, but he wrote, Kanye calling Jewish people horrifying doesn't shock me. What shocks me is how little we as a society talk about anti-Semitism. To put things into perspective, slavery was very recent, and the plight of POC is still rampant. End of slavery, 1865. End of Holocaust, 1945. It's a sensitive topic. Like I said, I'm very uncomfortable with it. Just had to put it out there because it involves somebody in wrestling, right? Kanye's had his issues, obviously, with Taylor Swift. Us Swifties don't want to hear about it either, because Kanye getting up on stage and cutting her off, not having it. So let us move on and talk about something positive in WWE. We're going to get to the news from Extreme Rules in just a bit, but a young man who debuted or re-debuted and returned at Extreme Rules, his brother may also be on his way back. Bo Dallas set for a WWE return. Linda Kay, your thoughts on Bo? Do you know Bo?
Bo knows. So are you telling me there's going to be two bunnies now within the WWE platform, not including Bad Bunny?
Right. And again, Adam Rose's rabbit still hasn't, gotten his retribution or his comeuppance.
Retribution's coming back too?
Yep, exactly.
Possibly, based on what's been happening on SmackDown. No, I mean, that's great. Obviously, we love anybody to get to be able to come back and work. And, obviously, let's show some of that brotherly love. Hey, they were just in Philly. This could have happened last night at the pay-per-view as well, but great to hear Bo Dallas coming back. I'm curious to see if this is going to be an angle where he's going to be a part of if there's going to be a new faction with said Bunny, which we'll get into more in a little bit here, but just great to have Bo Dallas back soon.
Matthew, your thoughts?
Those two have never worked together in WWE, have they?
I don't know if they've been a tag team. I know that Bo Dallas's last tag team action was with, I believe it was Curtis Axel as the B team, where they took marker and wrote B's on their shirts. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they have. And I certainly know the relationship's never been acknowledged in WWE. I don't think they've ever worked together. So I would like to see them, whether relationship is acknowledged or not, I'd like to see them present it together for once. And my goodness, that could certainly be a reset for Bo Dallas as well.
I have an answer for you. In Florida Championship Wrestling, he twice won the FCW Tag Team Championships.
Interesting. Well, there you go.
Let's talk about the lineage here of Bo Dallas, and we'll get to Rotunda in just a bit here. But Bo Dallas's real name is Taylor Rotunda. He is a third-generation wrestler and brother to Bray Wyatt, who made his return at, a place that we won't talk about yet because we're getting to it. Five-time WWE Tag Team Champion Mike Rotunda is their father. Barry and Kendall Windham are uncles. Their grandfather is the WWE Hall of Famer, Blackjack Mulligan. We talk about wrestling families. We talk about the bloodline. Is this a family that could be put together to maybe go up against the bloodline? Matthew.
It interests me. Whether they do that, I don't know, but it does. I think that is something that's really been untapped in their WWE main roster run. And I definitely have interest in it. But whether it be Bo Dallas or whether it be anybody else on that roster or somebody who's not on that roster you want to bring in, anybody right now that is brought in alongside Bray Wyatt is going to get that spotlight. And so this is a great, great spot for anybody who is paired with paired with Bray Wyatt, because he may very well be the hottest thing going in pro wrestling right now.
Linda Kay, what other families do you think that could be brought in to maybe challenge the bloodline?
Well, first off, Matthew was saying acknowledge. I didn't want to say pun intended, no pun intended, but now that you ask the question of family lineage, and other families to come about to challenge the bloodline. I mean, we still have some talents who were part of that Stu Hart dungeon. Still wrestling right now, doing different promotions, still in the scene, and still, obviously Natty there as well at WWE. So that could be some type of comeback. And even we have Julia Hart, who they mentioned from Calgary, but they didn't really say from the Hart family. But I mean, just to, we still have Harry Smith doing his thing. He's going to be
Tyson
doing.
Kidd is an agent in the back, right?
Yeah. Harry Smith's going to be doing some shows within the Milwaukee, Chicago area scene as well. So just some names to come to mind. But otherwise, if we go to the Wyndham Rotunda route, are we going to have another resurgence of a said person come tax season? I mean, April's a couple months away. That's WrestleMania time. Perhaps a little IRS action. But I will say the other family that comes to mind would be the Hart, obviously.
Fantastic. One other family that we could maybe find something, maybe if there's a way that Ray could, reconcile with Dominic down the road, you can get the Mysterio family or get a Lucha family of some sort, maybe get some people going in there as well. All right, let's talk about Friday night. Let's talk about Bound for Glory, a pay-per-view on a Friday, wrestling pay-per-view. I mean, literally with everything else that's been going on, kind of went under the radar. Here's some of the quick hitters. Brian Myers, Digital Media Championship. He had an open challenge. And he took on Dirty Dango, WWE's Fandango. Linda, Matthew, you guys were at the Control Your Narrative show as well as I was in Dallas. I love Dirty Dango's new music. That is some serious 70s kind of music.
Yeah, I mean, we had him at our annual show for GLCW in Ashton at the Fireman's Picnic this summer as well. So great
that
to
music.
See. Yes. It's just great to see Fandango or Dirty Dango do his thing back. Seeing him also just on regular TV is a great thing too. Great guy. Again, just so much talent there. Great to see him.
Yeah.
There at Impact.
Mike Bailey took on Frankie Kaz for the X Division Championship. Your winner and new champion, our friend Frankie Kaz. Matthew, your thoughts on Frank Kaz being the X Division champion?
That's somebody that no matter where he's at is going to have a lot of interest. And I think that it's a feel-good story anytime he's winning a title. So I think it's a wise move on Impact's part.
Matthew, you have, your girl Mickey's from out your way. Mickey James is saying that the next time she loses, she will retire and hang him up. And she took on Mia Yim. She's looking for the best challengers. So at Bound for Glory, Mickey James, Mia Yim, the winner, Mickey James.
So I see this potentially not just being limited to Impact. I think this is kind of an open challenge across brands. And I think anybody, any promotion would be idiotic not to feature Mickey in this kind of farewell tour, if you will, whether that be AEW or, that relationship is there with WWE. She was in the Rumble. She was in the Rumble as the Knockouts champion. So I look forward to kind of see where this goes. And with what we've got in WWE right now, with who we've got heading that regime, would not surprise me if her last match does not happen at a WrestleMania.
I would love it. Absolutely love it. VXT, which is Deonna Purrazzo and Chelsea Green, took on the Death Dolls of Taya, Valkyrie, and Jessica, with Rosemary at their side for the Knockout Women's World Tag Team Champions. The winners and new Knockout Women's Tag Team Champions, the Death Dolls, Taya, Valkyrie, and Jessica. Linda Kay, I love me some Taya Valkyrie. She had a very short run in NXT. I can't even remember what her gimmick name was, but
Frankie Monet.
There you go, Frankie Monet. Didn't her dog poop in the ring once?
I think it pooped somewhere, but did it in the ring too? Like that one obviously wasn't meant to be, or did that actually happen?
I made that part up. I mean, that was, when I was doing the NXT reviews, I'm like, please, I want to just see the dog drop a deuce one day, just because it shouldn't be there.
Well, hey, again, a lot of talent there. Happy to see her getting a strap. Wait, that was going to come off really wrong. A title back around her waist.
All right. There was something at Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory called the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. And this is where you get maybe some old school people, some new school people. Returning to the ring and returning to a major company was Bully Ray. And they also had a reunion between him, Tommy Dreamer, and Rhino. They did an ECW reunion. At the end, Bully Ray and Steve Macklin were the final two. The winner of this match gets to challenge for any belt at any time in Impact Wrestling. Your winner of the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, Bully Ray, a guy who's been a radio host now for the last couple of years and not really wrestling anymore, literally will be getting a world title shot in Impact Wrestling. Matthew Thomas, your thoughts on Bully Ray back in the business?
There's a lot of demand for Bully Ray as a singles competitor. I mean, his Impact run was really, really solid back in the days of
Aces and eights.
And there were a lot of people, us included, that were looking forward to his WWE singles run, and that just never materialized. He was there, it was much more of a kind of, nostalgia act, the way they utilized him at the time. So I think there is still that thirst from what we saw Bully Ray about a decade ago, and that continues to this day. So I think that it's a smart move on their part, because it'll get some additional eyes on the product. It will grab a lot of those Busted Open listeners who, hey, there's a lot of wrestling going on now that may or may not be watching Impact, or maybe lapsed fans there. And that show, when you give him that title shot, I'd be really curious to look at those numbers, because I think they're going to draw big with that.
Linda K, Bully Ray as a singles competitor, did you get to watch him in Impact Wrestling or TNA Impact at that point?
I did see some, but I was just going to mention, I recently saw him in singles action at Ric Flair's last match. He was a part of that Bunkhouse Battle Royal. He
beat up on our buddy, the kid.
But this is exciting to hear. Again, like what Matthew said, getting more eyes to Impact, those just familiar with his name alone, and those who are, loyal, Busted Open radio fans. Wait, did I say that right?
Busted Open radio fans.
Yes.
I think they call it the Busted Open Nation. Obviously, it's another show. I don't mind the show, but yeah, Busted Open is what it's called, the Nation.
Yeah, just getting more eyes to Impact as well, knowing their boy is getting this title shot coming very soon.
Yeah. Bully Ray was in talks. I don't know if you guys had seen the Broken Skull sessions with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Bully Ray was in talks to bring the Bully Ray character to WWE. Just the money didn't work out. So that run that Matthew alluded to just a little bit earlier was supposed to happen. And I think that a Bully Ray run for a singles championship would have been perfect in the WWE. Let's talk main event here at Impact. The current champion, Josh Alexander, the walking weapon, took on Eddie Edwards for the Impact World Championship. The winner and still champion, Josh Alexander. Does Bully Ray call him out and say, that's the belt I want to go for? Matthew.
I'd like to see it. Alexander's had a run here ever since his initial short run, where I believe it was Moose took the title off of him. He's had a nice little run here, and so you're really looking for that next person to take that title. And I think it could very well be Bully Ray. I mean, I think that would get some eyes back on the product, that people that kind of just keep up with it, from peripherally, if that's how you say that word, would peripheral, that word.
It sounded correct to me.
Yeah. And, I think they get some eyes back on the product.
Speaking of a product that we hadn't talked about yet, let's go to Saturday night. Well, actually Friday nights, but I thought it was going to be Saturday. If you listen to PWR Today, the season finale from that other show we did, and now we're on PWR Weekly, the season debut. We thought Battle of the Belts was on Saturday, but it was actually Friday night as well. We started off with Rampage. Let's talk Rampage first. Rampage had Claudio Castagnoli, John Moxley, and Wheeler Yuta. They are the Blackpool Combat Club, taking on Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn, and Roosh. The winners of the match were the Blackpool Combat Club, looking strong. Matthew, your thoughts on the BBC and AEW on TNT? I couldn't think of any more acronyms.
Yeah, good job there. My head's still spinning from that. No, I think this was a pretty much a predetermined victory here. Not that it wouldn't be in professional wrestling, but no, I don't think anybody's knocking off the Blackpool Combat Club. So, good match. But I think that this was pretty, when you looked at the matchups on paper, this was the way it was going to go.
Linda, your thoughts on the BBC?
Was it on TBS or TNT? The Black.
The BCC.
It is BCC.
I don't know. ABC 123 OPP. You know me. I mean, whatever we're talking about.
Yeah. No, obviously so strong. You can't knock them down right now. I mean, they're just all doing their things individually. No doubt they were going to win that match against Private Party and Roosh, even though they're strong too. But there's more. There's
Linda,
more momentum.
let's tee up here for a former OVW alum. Brian Pillman Jr. teaming up again with Griff Garrison. We haven't seen him in a while, taking on the team of Josh Woods and Tony Nese. And there's a little bit of story after this match on what the team is now called.
Yeah, I found that really interesting at the very end when Smart Mark Sterling came out and cited that they could not use the term varsity in their team anymore, so they're not varsity quote unquote level. I don't.
And if you do, I'll sue you.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what he said, but I was like,
varsity
no.
athletes. Yeah.
Well, but he's saying that the varsity blondes can no longer call themselves varsity blondes. Yeah. He's got the varsity athletes and his guys. And like, no, they are the varsity blondes. They came to AEW as this tremendous tag team. I feel my money now. No, I worked a show with him, and he's also going to be coming to some shows in the area as well. Brian Pillman Jr. Will not let that stay. Will not let that settle. There's going to be something more here where Smart Mark Sterling will eat his words.
Before the segment ended, yow. Wait, Linda, how does it go again?
Like
Here comes Max
like,
Caster, yep, and Anthony Bowens, the Acclaimed, the current AEW Tag Team Champions. They're forcing Sterling and Woods and Nice to get out of the ring. So right now, the hottest thing going in wrestling has got to be, when it comes to tag team wrestling, the Acclaimed, because everybody loves the Acclaimed. Now, scissor me, daddy-o.
See, with us having the video capabilities, you can do that now, Meathead.
That's right. Scissoring right on national podcast TV, right there.
Well, it was just National Scissoring Day, so
it was. You know, the mayor didn't come out and give out, golden scissors again this time. But how about the main event, AEW World Trios Championship match? It's the Death Triangle, Pac, Pento Azero Miedo, and Ray Phoenix taking on the Dark Order of Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and 10. Now, here's the unique thing about this. Live on TV was going to be the Battle of Belts right after Rampage went off the air. Pac is going to be in a 6-man or a trios match and then have to defend his belt right after that. The winners of the match and still champions, the Death Triangle. Linda, your thoughts?
That was a great match. I did think about that, like, well, if he's just going to have to roll and defend that, that's a long time to be in the ring. And you know how those matches go in AEW. I mean, anything goes for a lot of them. I mean,
right. There's 17 tope suicidas. So
tables. I mean, like, there's usually some blood, so that's a lot to take in. And I will say, though, this is the second time we did see Pac using a weapon of some sort. I think it was the ring bell both times. I know for sure at Rampage it was, but
he used the hammer was handed to him again, I believe. Wasn't it handed to him by Jose, the assistant?
Oh, that's right. But this time, I believe he grabbed the ring bell on his own, and it was later where we would see Rouge. Yeah. So sorry, jumping ahead. But I mean, that's a lot for someone to take. I mean, I guess, hey, if you have a weapon to your disposal to help you win, you might use it.
I mean, we just talked about Josh Alexander being the walking weapon, Matthew. What did you think?
Is this just Pat transitioning to a career in timekeeping? Does he just want to be the timekeeper? Like, that's really, the guy's crying for help week after week. It's right there in front of us the whole time. He's done the wrestling thing for a while. He's kind of enjoyed it. He's had some success, but he really just wants to sit there and be the timekeeper. And I say more power to him.
They always say don't dress for the job you have, dress for the job that you want. So maybe if he starts dressing up in like a shirt and tie or AEW polo, then we'll know that's the job he wants.
I think that's very, very, very reasonable.
Okay, let's talk Battle of the Belts 4. Let's start off with Pac defending against one of the best friends of all time, Trent Beretta. The winner of the match and still champion is Pac. But at the end, after the whole Jose the Assistant / Hammer again, Orange Cassidy come back and he is looking for revenge. This was not the Orange Cassidy that we see being aloof. Orange Cassidy came in on a house of fire. Now, I would say that he ran down the entire ramp, but it doesn't matter because the ramp was only 4 inches long. It's not like he was Charles Robinson at WrestleMania 24 running an entire marathon to get to the ring.
Yeah, I think he could have orange punched his way from the top of the ramp right into the ring.
I'm surprised there wasn't a spot from the entrance to the center of the ring. That's how short the ramp was.
Yeah. Well, hey, great to see Orange Cassidy back. He's got to get his revenge, and especially with us seeing what Pac has been doing. I mean, there's some more animosity there, so should be interesting between the two of them.
Jade Cargill with the baddies and Willow Nightingale. Linda, you big fan of the baddies. I know that we've got some people in there. Jade Cargill with another win. But this time, Vicky Guerrero on the ramp distracting Jade and the baddies, and Nyla Rose grabbed Jade's championship and ran off with it.
Interesting. I'm just surprised that we didn't see Brock Lesnar go in per Matthew's theory last week.
No. Matthew, your
Wait,
thoughts?
wait.
Yeah.
Here are my thoughts. Is Jade streak, those numbers really don't mean much to me anymore.
Right.
Like we've kind of talked about, that division's kind of been cut in half, and she's been fed a certain selection of talent. And with their division being, the women's division being, as I don't want to say thin because they've got people on the roster, but underfeatured as it has been. In a lot of ways, those two titles they've got, it's been a brand split within a company that does not have a brand split. And I think they got to do something to kind of reunite some interest in that title, in that run, because I'm just seeing her consistently talking about the streak, and it's just a very, very select group of people that she's been fed during that run. So they need to figure out a way to kind of pivot here.
Let's talk about the main event, Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. It's FTR taking on the Gates of Agony, Khan and Toa Leona with Prince Nana. The Gun Club dressed as FTR. Come on now. That's just good stuff. 7-star FTR getting made fun of a little bit. They win the match and they kind of continue on. But at the end, what we got was the Machine Brian Cage running out and the Embassy beginning to beat down FTR. Here comes his tag team partner, technically, Samoa Joe's tag team partner, Wardlow, and they even up the odds with FTR. Matthew, your thoughts on this whole Ring of Honor main event and the kind of cluttered, maybe crowded tag team division?
FTR should be every bit as over as the Acclaim right now. Not necessarily for scissoring each other, but in their own unique
way. Can you imagine if their mustaches scissored each other, just the mustaches doing it?
That's very, very reasonable. But FTR, I think, has been one of the biggest victims of this kind of hodgepodge ROH presentation. They are featured. They're featured as champions. They're featured as having every belt but the AEW titles. And honestly, if they do make a push for those AEW titles right now, it feels very, very convoluted. And I think that, we've talked on this program about the presentation of ROH. I think FTR has kind of been, that team that's kind of fallen through the cracks there. And they need a little bit of, not a reset. FTR doesn't need to do anything different, but they need to be presented like the superstars that they are. And I thought we were getting that. I thought we were getting that when the entrance changed, when we had the new music, when we had the 80s kind of retro look with the lasers and stuff. And they changed the presentation a little bit, but they are just flying way, way under the radar right now. And it's a shame.
Linda, your thoughts?
Yeah, based off the way Battle of the Belts ended, I'm smelling an 8-man tag match coming up. But then again, I was like, does Prince Nana wrestle? Because right now,
I don't think he does. They'd find somebody else. Yeah, okay. They'd find somebody else.
But yeah, just to kind of follow up on Matthew's point, I mean, FTR is this huge tag team phenomenon, and being a champion in 3 different promotions, including ROH, which is now obviously a big part of AEW. I too would like to see some more focus on FTR, just focusing just on them as the tremendous tag team that they are. But right now it's looking like, okay, we're going to put them with Wardlow. I was going to say Wardlow being also an ROH champion, but he's not. He's the TNT champion. Samoa Joe's an ROH champion, but still some type of resurgence. Just kind of, I mean, if you don't watch AEW regularly, or you may not know so much about FTR. Let's just say you just started watching AEW, you're hearing the hype, you hear the fan reaction, you see how much they pop for FTR when their music hits. But yeah, you see them walk out with all those titles, but then you wonder, like, what have they done recently? I know they're
like Janet Jackson used to ask, "What have you done for me lately?"
Ooh, yeah. Oh God, sorry, I'm so a little stuffy. Please edit that singing part out. Please be that.
I will say that everyone will have a chance to tell and thank Dax directly to his face in just a few short weeks here, and a little event that's coming up.
Yeah, Linda, you want to give us a little bit more detail on that? I know that that'll be something you're prominently featured in.
Yeah, so just kind of a rundown of some events we have coming up. First off, we just had a tremendous event in Kenosha, Wisconsin at the Brat Stop. It was a show put on together by SNS and GLCW. and we had Tugboat there doing an appearance. We got Platinum Matt Caster, speaking of scissoring, who is there making an appearance as well. We also had Sky Blue also from AEW, but also some other great local promotional talents. I got to guest referee the first ever SNS Women's Championship match between Stacey Shadows, who is a huge influence here within the Wisconsin wrestling scene with the women's division. Stacey Shadows, pleasure meeting her and getting to work a match with her. She is, again, a huge presence. She's tremendous here in Wisconsin, facing the up-and-coming Brooke Tanner for the title. But that being said, we also had Cal Hero there in a match. We had Jordan Cross, The Express, just some other names that we've had some other GSW shows. But we also have some other shows coming up, including one that you just mentioned. That being on Sunday, October 23rd in Waukesha, Wisconsin. It is going to be a show put out together by BTW and GLCW, bringing Bret Hart as the guest of honor. But we also will have Dax from FTR in the house as well. I got to look at the card again because I'm doing the show in Chicago. That's this Friday as well, on who's on which card. But I do believe seeing Brian Pillman Jr. on the card as well. Harry Smith, of course, Kel Hero. I'll be there announcing both shows as well. But for tickets for that, it's BTW Tickets, I believe, btwtickets.com. Otherwise, you can go to the GLCW social pages, check that out. Because we also have a show this Saturday at the GLCW Stomping Grounds of Cedarburg, Wisconsin at Circle B, where it's going to be Dance Party 2 with Scotty 2 Hottie back with us for this Saturday night's show as well.
Nice. All right. Well, that is fantastic. So nice little segue here. Let's talk about the show that we've been kind of hinting towards. Extreme Rules went off the air Saturday night, and we've been led down this rabbit hole, pun intended, for about, I'd say, 4 weeks to 5 weeks, roughly. We've been getting these clues. I thought the best QR code of all of them was the one right in our face. Triple H on the microphone, and the damn QR code was right on the mic flag. It was absolutely fantastic. My daughter even said, "Daddy, is that a QR code up there?" I'm like, "Hold on." And then played the video. And that's Friday night on Smackdown. We talked about this actually last week, Friday morning. We said, you know what? If they're going to be sending us going home with this, let's just put it in our face. Matthew, I believe those were your exact words. And they did finally put the videos in our face. They played those videos. And the show started off with the Brawling Brutes taking on Imperium in a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. And during the entrance, that same video played again. Matthew Thomas, your thoughts on how SmackDown went off the air with the QR codes and everything else, and how Extreme Rules got started?
Yeah, our Go Home show, they really took away a lot of the, are we going to get the payoff at Extreme Rules, to nudge, nudge. Yeah, you're going to get the payoff at Extreme Rules, and we're going to make sure that anticipation is built and that you tune in. And for them to do it,
Matthew, it wasn't even nudge, nudge. They said tomorrow night, and they gave the damn date.
Yeah. Hey, show could possibly not happen. The show could be canceled or something.
Sure.
Like it's always
rain delay.
That it doesn't happen. So let me tell you this, and the presentation of this, it was very reminiscent to almost the way AEW teased the Punk thing last summer, where you knew there was a 90% chance that it was going to happen and that it was going to be a certain person, but there was still that chance. It hasn't been quite confirmed yet. And I think that there's a lot to be said for that, where you can get people the chance to really, really anticipate it, to really, really look forward to it. But that, I think that little fraction of a chance that, it's not what they think, that's a really good concept. I think that those genuine pops and that anticipation and finally having stuff delivered like that, it's not something that is done a ton. And I think it paid off with Punk, and I think it paid off with WWE's presentation here.
Linda, the Brawling Brutes took on Imperium in that good old-fashioned Donnybrook match to open up the show. Your thoughts on the Brawling Brutes defeating Imperium? There was some, and we'll get to PWR draft points and moves that had happened. Because again, we had cliffhangers from last season. Linda, your thoughts on one, the trade that was proposed to you that you rejected right away, and two, the Brawling Brutes winning their match?
Well, there was a trade proposal made internally between our team here, where it would have had me losing Sheamus from Team Long Time. But I said, no. some good stuff happening for Sheamus in the future, I see, as well as him just being a part of Extreme Rules as well. But again, the key word of as of late is momentum. You've got so much behind the Brawling Brutes right now that predicted that they would come off with this win, and it did indeed happen. I did like the use of all the utensils, weapons, the shillelagh. I think at one point Michael Cole said, "Look at the size of that shillelagh," and I don't think you guys caught Corey Graves saying like, "You're just making my inner Michael Scott come out" or something to that. But he didn't say that's what she said. But no, just great way to kick it off. Great match, very physical. Never expect nothing less between the two teams there.
And I do want to throw this in there too. It's been very, very low key, and they really haven't called attention to it. But you look around, and WWE has a little bit of a trios division.
Yeah, kind of quietly. I mean, I for the love of all that's holy, please don't make a title belt for it. But yes, they have a bunch of groups now, a bunch of trios. They'll never call them trios. They'll call them 6-mans, or they'll call them 3-mans, or whatever they'll call them. But yeah, you're right. They got a few groups. And right now, in our PWR draft rules, you draft one person, or if you draft that team, you get all 3 people. Now, if there's 4, like myself having Judgment Day, I have to declare those 3, and I can't take points for the 4 if they were all in singles matches. Let's go to the SmackDown Women's Championship. Ronda Rousey defeating Liv Morgan in an Extreme Rules match to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. Matthew, your thoughts on the title win for Ronda Rousey? And really, I want to hear about Liv Morgan tapping out and smiling.
Yeah, 2 things here.
There was her eyelash hanging off too, because her fake eyelash was starting to fall off.
There was just more outright striking with objects in this match than I think I've ever seen, which, psychologically makes sense in these Extreme Rules matches. Like if you've got a weapon, you just go to town with a baseball bat or a kendo stick or whatever you've got at your disposal. I liked the fact that that was featured prominently in the match, but the match actually ended via a submission. And I hope this is a transition into us getting more of the dangerous Ronda Rousey, that submission specialist, that former UFC fighter, that grappler. We've kind of gotten away from that a little bit here during this run so far. So I want this to go back to dangerous Ronda that does win via submission. So I like the fact that, you featured this prominently in this dangerous, violent match, but it was her submission base that actually won the match for it.
Linda Kay, your feelings on Ronda Rousey being the new SmackDown Women's Champion?
I'm happy with that. This is my favorite Ronda Rousey since her being at WWE. She's just, her demeanor is just, it's something different about it. It's more charismatic, if you will. She's speaking more on the mic, following up what she's saying. And I love how, even though this is a Extreme Rules match between her and Liv Morgan, she's still got some restraint in their face-to-face, their confrontations that they've had leading up to this match. And she did her thing. I mean, practicing, obviously I'm not Ronda Rousey level here, but just watching her do those submissions, just being a fan and practicing it, at least just a little bit as well, watching that, it just intrigues me much more. And I do like how there was more use of the weapons. This was the match where they could use the weapons to their disposal. That was the whole premise of the match. So yes, we do see a lot of swinging from chairs, from kendo sticks, but we don't see that much swinging from actual baseball bats. So that was something different to see. And that was what Liv Morgan said that she was going to come in and really use, and she did. But then we had Ronda using it more on her. But that being said, the finish, great to see it being the submission, but also just that smile from Liv. And I was like, is that on purpose? Is that what's supposed to be happening? So it made me think, is there potential family she might be joining, just because it's something where she seemed to be enjoying that pain?
She seemed to be enjoying it indeed. And, I enjoyed Ronda Rousey as well. The only thing I didn't enjoy, and we'll get to even more totals, is Liv Morgan, who I had losing the belt. So I lost some points on that. Really, in his pay-per-view debut with WWE, Karrion Kross defeating Drew McIntyre in a strap match. I loved how heel Karrion Kross said, "Nope, not wearing it. Nope, don't even bother putting it on me." Him and Drew had a very physical match. Linda, your thoughts on that match?
Right, exactly. Him starting it off, knowing that the bell wouldn't officially ring until that strap was around his wrist. I knew that this was going to get started with a lot of striking with that prior to the bell ringing, and him just getting it a little bit more of a head start like he did on Drew on Smackdown the night before. But no, great match between the two of them. Wouldn't expect anything less. And in such a heel movie, you have Scarlett interfering and really the cause. I mean, I don't want to jump too far ahead here, but it didn't necessarily take the strap for Drew McIntyre to lose.
That's right. Matthew, your thoughts on the match, and is Karrion Kross already done with Drew McIntyre? And if he is, what's next?
I don't know, but it was a great presentation for both of them. This is really the first time we've gotten to see this variation of Karrion Kross in the WWE on pay-per-view. Thought it was very well done. Scarlett there ringside is she is, the way that she utilizes her facial expressions, the way that she's utilized, whether it be
she's a game changer,
interference, in a much, much different way. But it kind of reminds me a little bit of having Paul Heyman ringside, in the fact that it greatly accentuates the, competitor that she's there with, in this case, Karrion Kross. Really good presentation for both of them. I think the right decision was made here. And Kross is going to be something very, very special. I think they've got something that, and we knew that in NXT, and then we got that initial run where he was up to the main roster. And thankfully, I think they have done enough here in the last 6 weeks or so, ever how long he has been back on the main roster, to wipe that from to, as he says, reset the timeline.
We're lucky on that too, that everything he's done in this last 6 weeks has gotten rid of the S&M, Karrion Kross, and the red, leather spiked helmet. Honestly, it was like they wrote the stuff with a dry erase marker and we just wiped it away. Forget what you saw. This is what Karrion Kross is, and Karrion Kross looks amazing.
Went right into a strap match.
Well, it's from the S&M stuff. Finn Balor, a member of the Judgment Day, defeats Edge in an I Quit match. I believe, Matthew, you were the one that said exactly how this match would end up finishing.
Well, you kind of set me up a little bit. So this was a team match.
This was a team one. All right. Go ahead and tell us.
This was you were the John Stockton to my Karl Malone.
Fair enough.
Wait, the shorts included?
Yes, the shorts included.
Match of the night, in my opinion. Just the way this was booked, and I'm not talking about just in-ring physicality, although it certainly had it. This was just such a great spectacle with everything we saw, from the two competitors with Judgment Day at the end, the way Beth was featured, the story they told. I thought this was great. And my goodness, at the very end of it, I was legitimately mad at Judgment Day. And, although we talked about it and said this is the way it's going to go, they had me to the point that I was legitimately pissed off here at an outcome that I knew was going to happen. And that very rarely happens. So I think my goodness, they delivered on this one.
Linda, Finn Balor with a signature win for Judgment Day. Like I said, I know he's the first ever Universal Champion. I think this is a career-defining win. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. It started with that revamped, entrance that he had, where we got to hear, like segments of his old song and the almost interaction. Like it made you still want to do but instead he just like paused and then and then speaking of S&M, that mask. I mean, all right, let's roll over. Keep talking S&M here. No, cool to see.
What show are we on? Go ahead.
Yes, but no, cool to see Finn Balor featured just by himself, coming out to this match on his own. Again, that entrance brought back, but a different way. Even his presentation, even him going across the ring, like going up the post, makes you want to do that, makes you remember how much you loved Finn Balor as a babyface. Maybe you still love him as a heel. I still do. But for those who remember how much of a talent he was and how much you loved him and how much he interacted with the fans, do that entrance. Now you have this dark Prince Balor. And yes, an epic win for him. And I knew it. I knew Rhea was still going to do it. Crazy.
It was perfect. It was played out perfect.
All right. Let's not overlook the absolute viciousness of what was it? Those 3 stomps from the top that he delivered
in a row, and he kept going up and doing them again, and they were vicious. You're right.
And That's not booking that we have seen in the last 2 decades in WWE. Just that finishing move, just delivered over and over, except for maybe
Brock Lesnar on Cena.
Yep. Yeah, or Cena. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was something special.
Matt Riddle and Seth freaking Rollins in the fight pit. I don't know that I like the fight pit. I don't think there's enough to justify the ramp up top. I don't think there's any tactical advantage to climb up there. They just do it because it's there. Matthew, your thoughts on Riddle getting that win? Again, like I said, signature win. This is where Matt Riddle was going to win.
I think it's an interesting presentation for something different on an episode of NXT. I don't know that this structure belongs on a pay-per-view or in the main event of a pay-per-view. These two could have put together and told a great story in any kind of match. I don't think it necessarily detracted from it, but you still don't give me much of a reason as to why this structure exists.
Right. Why?
Gonna get, from something else. Hey, we can climb up here and mess around but not have the match finish. Now if we get a ref that's trying to scale the thing, you know what? Call Earl. We need to get Earl back to WWE. Earl would not put up with that. He's like,
hey, are those your chicken bones? Sorry, Earl.
I'm going up there and I'm going to count the finish. Now, he may get incapacitated for 25 or 30 minutes, but, he's at least going to try to get up there.
Linda Kay, this was the main event, but it really wasn't the main event. Talk about the match, and then we'll get into what happened right after the match was over.
Well, have we touched on Bianca Bailey?
The what? The tea leaves? What, you were reading tea leaves? No,
I said.
Go ahead.
I said, have we touched on Bianca and Bailey?
Did we miss Bianca Bailey? I sure did. Yeah, we'll get back to Bianca Bailey. Finish on this match, Riddle and Seth Rollins.
Oh, my turn on that. Sorry. Well, this structure, I did mention I was really interested in this match, seeing that fight pit match that Riddle had with Timothy Thatcher on NXT not too long ago.
Timmy.
Yeah, this one, I still enjoyed it. I liked seeing Seth Rollins pulling some jiu-jitsu moves as well to counter Matt Riddle. But, bringing in Daniel Cormier, I did like how there was some pushback from him saying, hey, you're fighting him, not me. Okay,
Don't
cool.
Touch
but
me.
Yeah. But I do feel if they could utilize the upper part of the fight pit, like if that could be somewhere where they can have a pin or submission. You don't necessarily need a ref sitting up there the whole time.
Right.
You can have a GoPro set up there for them to be. I don't know. Obviously we saw that bump that Riddle took off that. Obviously that looked like that could have done some major damage to Seth Rollins as well. Hopefully they're both okay from this match, but it's still, they needed this grudge match, if you will. There's been so much.
This has got to be the blow off, right? It's got to be the blow off.
So again, I guess it has to be something to that capacity. And just like when we made our predictions on Friday's show, I said with Ronda Rousey being in that kind of match, like she has to win this, given her background, just like Riddle. This being a fight pit match, he has to win this one. So I'm glad he did come off with that win. But if we use it again, I don't want to see too many more dangerous moves from them off the top. That's part of it, But then if you think about Hell in a Cell, do you really need to have a closed cage?
Right, they don't do the Hell in a Cell spot through the cage anymore. That was the thing for 3 or 4 Hell in a Cells in a row, where after Foley fell through it, it was gimmicked like that on purpose, or a spot off the top.
Yeah.
I think largely this is a result of them running out of new professional wrestling structures. I think we've really kind of plateaued there. It's like, all right, what else can we build? And this is probably the best they could come up with.
How about the Punjabi prison match?
Yeah, we saw that. What pay-per-view was that in Milwaukee that we saw a Punjabi prison match? Or was it a Smackdown? Because I've been in live.
It was a pay-per-view. It was Randy Orton and oh my gosh.
Randy Orton and Batista, maybe?
No, it was 3MB. I'm losing my mind here.
Or was it Chicago? Because I always forget.
Jinder Mahal, wasn't it?
Jinder Mahal, there you go. Yeah,
that
might have been
so.
It. But it was at a show. I was at a Punjabi prison match, and it was a bunch of bamboo. There was a lot of bamboo in the house.
Yeah. It was just being hard to see through on TV.
Yeah, you brought up
out
Go
there
ahead,
that
Matt.
didn't necessarily involve either gender or Kali. Like there's like a Big Show Orton one out there or something. There is one that is out there, and I don't know if somebody got injured or something, but when you really look at it, it's like, or maybe it was Batista. But there are people in that match that you're like, why was this the stipulation?
I don't know. Linda, you brought up that we skipped over Bianca and Bayley in the ladder match. I want to hear your thoughts on Bianca retaining the Raw Women's Championship.
Great to see. I am a big fan of Bianca's, and yes, she is on Team Long Time, so great to get some points there too. But hey, for the first ever women's ladder match for this title, that was huge. I thought they had a great showing. They did some things I haven't seen before in the ladder matches. I will say though, like I thought that this was going to be Bayley getting it just because Damage Control just getting that push right now. But at one point when they were outside the ring, she said to a little girl, "I'm gonna win." I was like, "Oh, she's not gonna win," because that's kind of, you know what I mean. So
Right, it was setting us up. They were trolling us. Yeah.
Right, but no, I thought it was great. It had some unique moments, some things I hadn't seen before. I looked like Bayley. It was either her lipstick or she did get bloody, but toward that very end when she held onto that ladder, it did look like it hit back in the face. So again, hope she's okay from that. But all in all, I thought they put on a great showing, and Bianca still going strong as Raw Women's Champion.
All right, let's talk about what happened as the pay-per-view was going off the air. Michael Cole yelling out, "Are we still on the air?" I think they used that trope once before. Drew McIntyre says, "I don't even know if we're on the air anymore." So I don't know if that's intentional, but are we still on the air? He got the whole world in his hands. It's what we all wanted. It's what we all were waiting to see. Linda, I'll start with you. The presentation, the White Rabbit, and the reveal of not only the Firefly Funhouse all live in the building, Bray Wyatt coming out as the Fiend, taking off his Fiend mask and revealing Bray Wyatt. And I tell you, at the end, him whispering, "Let me in."
Oh yeah, great to see. I loved it, just that presentation again where you saw in the end, I think it was Riddle. Oh yeah, and Cormier, yeah, them walking back and then the lights go up, because for a second there you may have forgot, like I honestly forgot for a minute there about the White Rabbit. I mean, we saw him throughout the whole pay-per-view, or premium live event, excuse me, it's still premium live event. But then you like forget and the lights went out, and automatically all the fireflies, all the phones lighting up. Kind of gave me some goosebumps. Yeah, gave me some goosies. Really cool to see that, and just some more montages of Funhouse and just everything, and just being spooky, creepy, all the things I love about that. But just having the lantern, just a slowly thing. First you got like a shot of the door opening, the lights, then you see the lantern and him slowly coming out, unveiling the mask.
How about in the Firefly Firehouse Funhouse with all the cobwebs all over everything? Like they haven't been there in a while.
And his old mask on the commentator's desk.
Mm-hmm.
That was Cole really cool too. Yeah. So I mean, that was some magic right there.
Matthew, tell us.
I don't think they could have done it any better. I don't think there's any way they could have presented this any better. And I want to say, I think we've seen WWE cinematic matches, but I think this is the biggest cinematic presentation we've ever had in front of a live crowd. That payoff was absolutely outstanding. And I do want a little bit of a side story where the Firefly Funhouse was shut down due to some type of tax issue. And then there's another family member you can bring in. That is the payoff right there.
So we alluded to it earlier. Linda, I know it was you that said it. You want Erwin R. Shyster to come in and say he was the one that shut down the Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah, that's going to happen. And we're going to get some Bo Dallas back onto the WWE airwaves as well.
I get goosebumps. To be honest, after we go off the air, I'm going to go watch the whole thing again because I love the presentation of it, because I love the little nuances. I love the little pieces in it. Again, I thought Triple H's, as much as it was just blunted in your face, him holding a mic. And I went back and watched that again from Smackdown. I watched the way he held the mic, and then when they turned and then the changed camera, he spun his hand to pop that QR code right on the screen. Oh, just the itty bitty details. For all the maligning that we do for WWE, the Vince McMahon era, as you could say the last 10 and 15 years of just the mind-numbing minutia that we would get from that. When they do it right. the details, by God, the details and the production value on something like this. And you know what? Some of this production they didn't need help with. It's literally people with their cell phones and their cameras and their, just their flashlights. That's all man-made right there. Absolutely loved Extreme Rules. Now, let's segue off of that and let's talk PWR Fantasy Draft. Linda Kay, Matthew Thomas, and myself are still in this draft, and we made some moves over the weekend. Matthew, do you want to tell us the first move that you made?
I believe if you go back to our previous season live on air, I announced that I was dropping CM Punk, who was a great member of Team Nelson Mandela for one pay-per-view, and
won a title. Yeah,
won a title. So I had to unfortunately part ways with him and pick up one Karrion Kross. And then after that, over the weekend, I decided that, you know what I was going to do? I was going to say farewell to my friend Kenny Omega, who also won me a title at the last pay-per-view, and pick up one Bray Wyatt or The Fiend or Husky Harris or Johnny, Jimmy, whatever his new moniker was going to be. I don't know what he's going to call himself. He could be Johnny Jimstone or Gypson or whatever, whatever name you can pick up for one Bray Wyatt. So I picked him up, and I wanted to cover all my bases. I wanted to get the name right.
Linda Kay, did you make any moves over the weekend that the accounting firm didn't account for?
No, I did not. I knew a lot of my roster would be on Extreme Rules, so I just left things the way they were. Pretty happy though with my decision to not make any shakeups this past weekend.
I thought maybe we would get an appearance from Sami Zayn on the program. We did not, but I did pick up Sami Zayn, and I also picked up the Brawlin' Brutes. I was the one that proposed the trade to Linda, trying to pick up Sheamus and trade her the United States champion, Bobby Lashley, who quite possibly tonight could be dropping that belt to Seth frickin' Rollins. Well, the accounting firm has tallied up everything. Matter of fact, in the pre-show, I gave you the wrong thing because I forgot to mention that Matthew Thomas's points are in there as well. As you were talking, the accounting firm has sent me a new updated total.
Wow.
The totals brought to you by the accounting firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. The pay-per-view was won by Matthew Thomas with 320 points. Linda Kay, you had 155, and the man they call Meathead only had 75 points because of that title loss from Liv Morgan. The new leader in the 2022-2023 draft, Linda Kay, the team they call Team Longtime, now leads our draft with 2,520 points. The man they call Meathead, or the team they call Meatheads, 2,495. Matthew Thomas at 2,085. Your thoughts, Linda, react to being in first place.
I mean, I don't know if that got on camera there, but I had both hands up high. I'm so excited. I don't know if I've ever been first place at any point. Maybe I might have been once, but I'm not really sure. This is huge. I mean, I may be sporting my Green Bay Packers attire there.
Stand up so we can see the whole thing. Stand up so we can see the whole thing. Yep,
Go
higher,
Pack,
higher.
Go.
Right,
whatever happened in London, I'm behind the pack 100% all the way. So excited. Team long time, baby. Yes, I knew someday this would happen. Let's see how long I can maintain it. I'll be real here, but I'm super elated.
Matthew Thomas, you won the pay-per-view, but still trail in third place.
It's all part of a long-term strategy. It's going exactly like I have planned, and I've got some team members that I have not cast aside like so many people would do. I want to show my loyalty to certain team members, and it's all going to pay off in the very end. I'm just this is sports entertainment, and this kind of is a sports entertainment draft. Like I'm trying to kind of hang back here and just not blow everybody out of the water. Just kind of let everybody have their time sharing the lead, and that's kind of the way that I'm playing this thing.
So Matthew, here's an interesting stat. We've been doing this draft for a few years. Matthew, are you aware you have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pay-per-views?
Oh wow!
And are in last place.
Well, I need to get somebody to audit this accounting firm. That doesn't sound like it adds up there.
Matthew Thomas won WrestleMania Backlash. He won Hell in a Cell. He won by 5 points Money in the Bank. He also won SummerSlam and Extreme Rules.
So in the pay-per-view winning column, I am in the lead. Yeah.
The team they call Meatheads made moves as well. Like I said, I picked up Sami Zayn, and I also picked up the Brawling Brutes. You know what? $24.95. I'm where I need to be because the next pay-per-view, I believe, Crown Jewel is going to be before Full Gear. I'll have to check the dates on that, but they might even be the same weekend again. To be completely honest with you,
Well, there's also Halloween Havoc if anybody decides to make any NXT moves. Just saying.
No. I'm just saying that at Extreme Rules on Saturday night, we also had NXT talent appear as well. I believe I saw Braun Breaker, and who else did we see? We saw Nikita Lyons. So there could have been some appearance points there for those particular talents. All right. Well, the accounting firm has spoken. There could be some pre-show stuff. I didn't go through the pre-show. I mean, the accounting firm didn't go through the pre-show stuff yet. So, wow. PWR Weekly is in the books. How do you guys feel about it, Linda? Are we good? PWR Weekly in the books.
Yes, our season premiere. But one thing we do have to highlight, though, Meathead, is our sponsor. Our friends over at Collar and Elbow. Make sure to go to collarandelbowbrand.com. Check out the latest and greatest in wrestling street fashion. I don't know if the camera's there on you, Meathead, but he is sporting his Irish Whip t-shirt.
Yeah, it's Irish Whip.
With Collar and Elbow. So go to collarandelbowbrand.com, and to save some extra cash, to save 10% off your order, you can always use promo code LindaK. That's LINDAKAY. But also,
Thomas.
Fantastic season premiere.
Yes, Matthew Thomas. We got PWR Weekly. We're going to try to get these episodes out on Mondays. They might be recorded Sunday night. They might be recorded Monday. It'll be for your week. We got big show of Raw coming up tonight, Monday night. And it's the season premiere as well of Raw. I believe the Bloodline is going to be there. Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. Theory and Johnny Gargano are going to have a big match as well. And isn't it the 25th anniversary of DX?
Yes.
Correct, you are.
All right. Matthew, any closing thoughts before we go?
They're going to be missing a member, though.
He's, off doing some scissoring.
He's off on the side scissoring people.
Hey, although I will say for our inaugural episode here, I think we missed the boat, Meathead. Do you have a lantern you can, blow out as we go off the air? I think he might. He might. Not close enough.
Do you know what's funny is that because of the setting, that logo of said product was blurred. That wasn't on purpose, but it actually was. But that was the lantern.
Yeah, if they want to pay us for that, I can unblur that. For Matthew Thomas, for Linda K, I'm the man they call Meathead. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you guys next week. So long, everyone.